Back at a time where many people in the world were locked inside, Netflix gave us something to ease our minds, and it would blow up in mass popularity. 3 years later, and at the turn of a new year, Squid Game returns with its Season 2. Full of new games and challenges and depth, we get a new look at the world after the events of Season 1 and the return of our hero, Jihan, player 456. Hello and welcome to Television Tuesday, the show where we talk TV on Tuesday and tell you all about it. I'm your host, Garrett, and as previously mentioned, we're talking Squid Game 2. Kicking right into it, I want to talk about some less spoilery things and give you my overall thoughts on the watch itself. I gotta say, I was excited about the 7-episode run, as with something like this, I figured it'll be all meat and no sides with the shorter runtime. Though I was happy it wasn't all the games. I really did like some of the outside bits you saw that gave a lot more depth and characterization to our main character, Jihan. But I will say, I do think we could have gotten to the games a little bit faster. The first 2 episodes take their time getting you settled into the new games, and I gotta say, I was really interested in where these plots were going, while I do feel like sometimes the editing of the show did make it feel a little bit slower. I do feel like we spent quite a bit of time doing absolutely nothing. Whether that's backstory on characters we only get to see for a couple episodes, or plotlines that go absolutely nowhere. A lot of this will be set up for Season 3, which comes out in 2025 and will be the final season of the show, but I wasn't super happy with another project that didn't have a ton of conclusions. And here's where I'm gonna get into some spoilers, so stick with me. We get into this first episode, and Jihan is running a gang of people he owed money to at the beginning of Season 1. And this plot escalates throughout the first couple episodes, but I'll get more into that point later. The other plot is with the recruiter, who the gang is also hunting down in the first couple episodes. And this gives us probably our best scene in Season 2 with the rock, paper, scissors -1 scene, which is insanely tense, wonderfully shot, and super entertaining. I absolutely loved watching this bit of the show. Got me hooked in for Season 2. The third plot we get introduced to is this girl named Noelle. Sorry if I'm butchering the names. Or Guard 11, as I'll probably call her more. And this plot really had me into the show with seeing this North Korean defector, and she's got her kid that she's looking for, but her implications in some of the games were kind of vague, and I really wanted to explore more of this. But we really got nothing from this plot, except for when she got assaulted by some guards and they basically ended her plot. Though I do think they'll capitalize on this going into Season 3. Getting back into the gang, this was probably my biggest complaint from the show. Once Jihan goes back and enters into the games, and you're left with them trying to find and search, this felt like filler. They are jumping from island to island and searching for him mindlessly, and I guess all in all, the captain did do his job of, being a traitor or whatever he's doing, because we really don't know. But he had them chasing for more than a season. Finally getting into the games, I will say we follow many really good characters, and for my ease of sake, I'm not going to refer to them all by their names. While I don't feel like a lot of their names were mentioned multiple times, I will try to go more by their numbers. Except for Thanos, because kind of hard to forget. I love the 222 and the 333 plot with them being exes, and they've got their kid on the way and she's pregnant, and the whole dynamic that goes on with that. And him being like a YouTuber and his crypto scam stuff, that was interesting. I probably liked those characters the most. I thought Thanos and his group were average or below average villains, with 2 or 3 members feeling like throwaway characters that really didn't do anything. I did really like 007 and his mother, and that whole group, I thought they were cool, but really nothing super special. And then you've got the main protagonist and his group, he's got another childhood friend in and their new Marine buddy. But overall, I will say I don't feel like I connected to these characters the same way I did in Season 1. All of those characters I felt had so much heart to them, and with the Marble episode alone, I was like, oh man, that sucks seeing all of this happen. And there was so much heart in Season 1 that I just don't think Season 2 grabbed me enough with. But besides the characters, I will say the games themselves were really entertaining. I loved the opening rock, paper, scissors roulette thing we get in the middle and end of episode 1. I thought that was super cool. I even really liked the red light, green light part 2. I thought it was super entertaining seeing this new perspective, and he saved a whole lot more people this time around, and it really gave me hope that he could save more people through this game compared to how the first red light, green light ended. The second game was cool. It was that 5-person team where they do all the smaller games, and it was cool and exciting, but I do feel like the show took away from it by splitting it up into 2 episodes and then giving so much time to unnamed characters to try and play and win without actually moving the plot along. It was cool though seeing them watch other players and be like, oh hey, this is the best way to do it, this kind of sucks, and that big first shock of watching those first teams not win and seeing that, oh, time is your enemy more than the games here. Now the third game was cool. I really liked Mingle. I loved how chaotic and tense it could get. You had some of the highlights of 007 being pulled away from his mom, and Young Mi's death, and just kind of the general who's getting left out. It was super tense, and I thought that was really cool. But even while Young Mi's death was sad at the time. For being a semi-main character, I do kind of feel like the games didn't have a ton of stakes to them. Even in the main 5, all of your characters grouped together, and you're not really expecting all of these main characters or semi-main characters to die all right here, so you kind of know everybody's gonna be safe. I just feel like the games could have used some higher stakes. Like, I never felt stressed out for all of the characters because I knew that they were gonna move through. I also think that characters could have just died more in general. We really only had young me there, and then Thanos and 380 in the dark and bathroom fights at the end. And I just feel like for how the show was in season 1, that we just didn't really get a lot out of this. Now for my final point, my absolute favorite part of this was the front man, or as we got to see him this season, number 1. No, not that number 1. This number 1. No, not that number 1. He was number 1 this time.
He was number 1!
Anyway, I absolutely loved the reveal of him during the first vote. I thought that was a super tense and cool scene, and I loved everything he did trying to sway Gi-Han throughout the various points in the show, with the fact that a lot of people were not really giving in to what Gi-Han was trying to do, and they were giving into the games and their greed, and he was picking at him at little points, like, ah man, like, what do you think about that? I also really liked that he, much like the recruiter, stuck to the rules. He didn't like sneak off like number 1 in the first season did. He really did play the games, and there were moments where he was stressed out. Like, I really liked the part during Mingle where he kills a guy in the room because he's like, oh man, like, I have to do something here. Like, he is a little stressed out and panicking. And I love that he let the revolt go too far, knowing the whole time he could have stopped it at absolutely any moment. The power dynamic in the show is so unsettling because of this. Just knowing that he had all the power to stop this, but then continued to let it get right to the very end. I think it, first off, really just shows that he doesn't care about other people at all. And like, he's letting his workers die, he's letting these people die. Like, you know, maybe this could also be that he had a bit of a change of heart and he was trying to see like, oh man, could they pull this off? Could we actually stop it? Because we know from season 1 that he was a player in the games before. He got to where he is because he was one of the past winners years before. And I'm really excited to see in season 3 kind of where this power is going to go. Because this led up to him, obviously, killing Gi-Han's best friend right at the end in front of him. And then that's just where the show ends. And while I don't like that we didn't get a lot of conclusions from this, I did really enjoy everything I saw throughout the whole season. I think the season had its ups and downs with stuff like this, with the pacing and with odd character times. I feel like at some points we got very little with characters, and other times I wish we would have had more with characters. That did give me a lack of appreciation for some of them. But there were also really great, tense, fun moments like from season 1 and stuff that added on depth to a lot of our characters in the first couple episodes. I am overall very much looking forward to season 3, and I thoroughly enjoyed season 2, despite its problems that I feel like it has. But anyway, did you like the show? Do you feel the same way I felt about it? Let us know in the comments. And while you're here, give us a like, give us a subscribe. If you like the content, we make so much more. We've got this show, Television Tuesday, along with our sister show, Studio Cinema Saturday. We've also got some new shows we're working on, and we've got plenty of short films, because here at Studio 24, we are filmmakers. That is what we love to do, and we'd love you guys to stick around and join the discussion with us in these shows and enjoy the films we put out into the world. And we'll see you next time.